When Skyroot Aerospace launched Vikram 1, India became the third country globally after the US and China to possess a demonstrated private sector orbital launch capability. But this wasn't just limited to one rocket launch. It represented a much bigger shift. For decades, India's space story was almost entirely written by ISRO. Today, private companies are becoming a part of that story. So, why did India open its space sector? Is ISRO being privatized? Or is India preparing for the next phase of its space journey? Hi everyone, this is Shubhi and welcome to Shubhi Speaks. India introduced major space sector reforms beginning in 2020. Private companies were allowed to participate in activities that had earlier been dominated by ISRO. To support this transition, new institutions and policies were brought in place. One of them is InSpace, the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. Think of InSpace as the single window regulator. It facilitates and authorizes the private participation in Indian space sector. Then came the Indian Space Policy 2023, which clearly defined the roles of ISRO, private companies, and other government institutions. In 2024, India liberalized the FDI norms for space sector, making it easier for international investors to invest in Indian space startups. Together, these reforms signal one clear objective. India doesn't just want to be a country that launches rockets. India wants to become the global space economy. The first and perhaps the biggest opportunity is that ISRO can focus on what only ISRO can do. Now, ISRO can devote greater attention to ambitious projects such as Gaganyaan, Bharatiya Antariksh Station, future Chandrayaan missions, planetary explorations, and advanced launch technologies. Private companies handle routine commercial opportunities while ISRO focuses on frontier science. This isn't unique to India. NASA, for example, focuses on exploration, whereas companies such as SpaceX provides launch and other transportation services. The second advantage is innovation. Government organizations are naturally cautious because failure involves public money. Startups, on the other hand, experiment faster. Competition encourages faster innovation, reduced costs, and newer technologies. Third comes employment and entrepreneurship. Today, more than 300 space startups are creating opportunities in aerospace engineering, electronics, artificial intelligence, robotics, software, manufacturing, satellite applications, etc. This helps build a high-tech ecosystem within India. The fourth advantage is economic growth. India's space economy is currently estimated around $13 billion, and the government aims to expand it significantly over the coming years. Interestingly, launching rockets is a small part of the global space economy. The real value lies after the launch. Satellite communications, navigation, Earth observations, agricultural mapping, climate monitoring, disaster management, logistics. These downstream services generate a larger share of economic value than launch vehicles alone. That is why companies working with satellite data may ultimately become just as important as the companies building rockets. Finally, there is the strategic dimension. Space is no longer just about scientific exploration. Modern satellites support border surveillance, secures communication, disaster response, and maritime security. Through initiatives such as Mission DevSpace, India's private companies are also contributing towards its defense preparedness. A strong domestic ecosystem, therefore, strengthens both economic growth and national security. Of course, opening the space sector also brings in important challenges. The first concern is talent movement. Many experienced ISRO scientists have moved to private companies offering higher salaries and greater flexibility. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Movement between government organizations and industries often transfer valuable knowledge and strengthens the overall ecosystem. The real challenge is ensuring that ISRO retains enough specialized talent for its long-term strategic projects like the Gaganyaan. The second challenge is regulation. India currently operates largely through policies and executive guidelines. As private participation expands, many experts argue that India also needs a comprehensive space activities law that clearly defines issues such as liability, insurance, and dispute resolution. The third challenge is infrastructure. Many startups still depend on ISRO's launch pads, testing facilities, and specialized laboratories. As the number of private companies grows, India will need more dedicated infrastructure to avoid bottlenecks. Another concern is space debris and orbital congestion. As more satellites enter orbit, regulating launches and responsible use of space becomes increasingly important. So, is India privatizing ISRO? Not really. ISRO remains the backbone of India's scientific and strategic space program. What India is doing is opening its sector so that private companies can innovate, attract investment, create jobs, and build commercial opportunities alongside ISRO. In simple words, India is moving from having one space agency to building an entire space ecosystem. What do you think? Do let me know your views in the comments and subscribe to Shubhi Speaks for more such discussions.